Welcome to Meditating with John Vervaeke. We do this every weekday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, with Mondays alternating between a new lesson called Dharma Day and a review of the whole ecology of practices called Upaya Day. For previous lessons and sits, see the description. If you're joining us for the first time, you're most welcome, but I recommend you go to those links and immediately do lesson one, and then every week do one or two more lessons, and then you'll very quickly integrate with the rest of the group. I would ask everybody to help me to reach as many people as possible by please liking this video stream. At the end of every session, there is a Q&A. Please limit the questions at that time to anything from the whole ecology. If your question doesn't get answered on the day you pose it, don't worry. We gather them together. We create a storehouse and we try and work our way through them. If you have more encompassing questions, we have a live stream general Q&A every third Friday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Yeah, that's August the 21st for this month. And I think that's all I need to do. So I'll remind you that I'll review we added the arms in yesterday to the walking to create full-blown brush knees. I'll review that again for you tomorrow. I think that's everything. Oh, one final reminder. We're going to be starting the wisdom of Hypatia on our Dharma Day this coming Monday. Okay, that's everything I think we need to get ready. So please get yourself in position. Set your phones on Do Not Disturb. And we will, as always, we'll start with some chanting, and then we'll go into silent sit. And we will begin together when I say begin. Begin. One. Begin your silent sit. communitas, perhaps by reciting the 5 promises to yourself. Okay, we have time for a couple of questions. One is from Dimitar, and it begins with an observation. I encourage everybody to share observations and comments and events that have happened that have been significant to them. We're trying to edify each other as much as possible. Dimitar, first the observation and the question. I noticed a while ago that I'm most calm during basic Vipassana when my breath becomes like a mirror of my mental state, and at the same time the sensations themselves are vivid. I find that I can renew my interest in my breath for a longer period if I can sense the ongoing story of my mental state being reflected from it. However, I wouldn't say it's entirely fused together with the sensation. It does seem more like a projection. Is this something I should expect? Is there something else I could aim towards once I'm in this state? And that's a very good question. So it sounds to me like you are that story is sort of the unfolding of it. That it's a lens for you. You're still aware of the lens, so it's translucent to you rather than just transparent to you. But you're using it as a way to more inter-essay yourself with your sensations. It doesn't sound like it's a problem. Everything has an aspect of projection to it, because participation is made up of a projection introjection loop, right? Go to the pine to learn about pines, right? The famous, I think it's from Basho. So the problem with projection is if we're not aware of it, and it's also distorting. But if you're aware you're doing it, and it's affording you becoming more inter-essay and involved. Think about involved as the revolution, right? Revolving, evolving, right? With the unfolding of the pattern of your sensations. If it's affording you getting into something like an absorbed flow state, then I think you should keep doing it, Dimitar. It's when we get interested in the story for its own sake, explaining it, justifying it, how it weaves with our autobiography, how it reinforces self-referentiality, when it starts to imprison us in that kind of locked-in egocentrism. That's when it becomes problematic and dangerous. So sounds to me, if I'm understanding you correctly, and of course this is always a challenge, it's always a challenge. It sounds to me like this is fundamentally working for you. And I've given you a few cautions, of things to note for when it's not going right, and the ways you need to frame it so that it stays a healthy upaya, a healthy skilled practice for you. Aiden C. asks a question: how would you recommend integrating Jungian dream work and memory techniques together with this ecology of practices? So the Jungian dream work we're going to talk about in the Wisdom of Hypatia. So when we get to the Neoplatonism part of the course, and we're actually doing what's called Theurgia, I will take you through. I'm going to recommend a book, George Slater's book, Bringing Dreams to Life, a couple small books, and we will work through together how to do that, and you can see how to integrate it together. For those of you who work, for those of you for whom it works, one way of integrating mindfulness and dream work together is to try to cultivate lucid dreaming. As I mentioned before in the past, I've had lucid dreams, and a couple of them were sort of profound for me, but as a regular practice, this hasn't gelled for me yet. I'm going to come back and work on it. So I won't have too much to say about that because of lack of significant experience or expertise, but we'll definitely dream work a lot. I have a lot of experience with. So we'll be able to, I'll show you how to integrate that in. Memory techniques, I'm not quite sure what that means to you. We're going to be talking about maximization, which is the use of maxims and other what's called prochiron. This is from Stoicism, making things ready to hand. And those are memorization techniques. We'll talk about that in Stoicism. So I think both of your concerns will be addressed as we work our way through Wisdom of Hypatia. The memory stuff most probably in Stoicism, and the dream stuff most probably when we get to Neoplatonism. But we're not starting there. On Monday, we're going to start with Epicureanism, because that's where you should start. You start in the world of the senses, the world of pleasure and beauty, because that is where we start in an important way. And we should never, ever leave that behind. Epicureanism is not what it means today. It's not about having party and fun. It's about learning to savor the beauties and the pleasures, not just physical pleasures, mental pleasures, as a way of encouraging, as a way of creating courage within us. Epicureanism is directed towards, most centrally, overcoming fear through deep friendship. Overcoming fear through deep friendship. And that's what we're going to start pursuing on Monday. So thank you all for joining. I want to thank my dear friend and technomage Amar and my beloved son Jason, who is apprenticing. I guess he's a technomage in training now. He's doing lots of work behind the scenes with Amar. And so that builds in some very needed redundancy. It also liberates Amar up to do have more participation. And so I'm thanking Jason for all of that. Please subscribe to this channel to be notified of the next video. You'll also find on the channel links to the lecture series, Awakening from the Meaning Crisis, the Dialogo series, Voices with Vervaeke. There's a new series that's going to be coming out shortly that I'm doing with Greg Enriquez called Untying the World Knot of Consciousness, the Hard Problems of Mind and Meaning. I'm filming another episode with him today, and that's going to be coming out shortly. There's a lot in the work, of course, after Socrates, whenever COVID will let me get to the filming, that's definitely something I put a lot of work into. So there's a lot there, a lot that can be of value to you. Please subscribe to me on Twitter if you're not opposed to that for philosophical or psychological reasons, because that way I can give you updates about all of these streams and all of the things that are happening. Invite others who might benefit by joining this series. Please join the Discord server to chat with others. There's a link in the description. A lot of the practices from the Western wisdom tradition are more about in your life as opposed to in a sitting. There'll be things we do together in sittings, but they're more in the life and in dialogue with others. So I'm going to be relying on the Discord server as a place to home some of these new practices. And so I encourage you all to familiarize yourself with that and become more aware of that community and contribute to its growth. Like everything that's growing, it needs guidance, it needs correction, it needs participation, and it needs involvement. We do this every weekday morning at 9:30 Eastern Time. And I think that's all I need to say regarding announcements. So please remember that continuity of practice is more important than quantity of practice. Don't hold yourself to some harsh perfectionism. Hold yourself to the standard of virtuous friendship. Please remember, therefore, that there's no enemy worse than your own mind body. That there's no friend, no ally, no true companion on the path better than your own mind and body. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Take good care, everyone.